Well, I'm so excited that, you're just part of the family of our friend network, growing up here.
How funny is that? The connection.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's amazing.
Fortuna, small, everybody knows everybody. And you grew up in Rio Dell. Scotia. Okay. Wow.
So I had no idea that you were a part of, our life. So,
how funny
and
is
our
that?
friends and family, so that's so amazing.
Yeah, whenever I go to the fair, or I'm just down in Ferndale or Fortuna, I always get that. Are you Machado? I could see a little bit of Brenda in you. I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. Yep.
Amazing. And her sister, what's her name again?
Teresa.
Yeah, Teresa. Yeah.
Yeah, Teresa's still here. She's still here too. Yep.
She's
Tony's
older?
still here. Yes, she is. I don't know how. Maybe 4 or 5 years
Older?
They moved out to Fallon back in the day. Fallon, Nevada. I think
Yeah. Went away to Nevada for a little
I was
bit.
there for that.
Oh, were you really? Oh, wow. I'm going to have to tell my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was out in Nevada.
So
for
your
a
mom went to Ferndale High? Or did she go to
Fortuna. It was Fortuna. I don't think she went to Ferndale.
She was a cheerleader, Fortuna High.
Yep. Wow. Blast from the past. I think that might be the first time I've talked about my mom in here. Nobody else knows her. Now it's like everybody knows her. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a trip for you coming back, having grown up in here and then gone off and done all this, and now you get to come back. You're kind of like the superstar in town. Like, hey, man.
We have a lot of our class stayed pretty close, and we have a lot of get-togethers. And in high school, we should turn the podcast on. No,
We can
Like,
go. You want to pull?
I don't want
he
you-
wasn't super. He wasn't super popular in high school, but now he's the most
Get out of here.
popular in the.
Get him
in
off the mic.
class.
Yeah, make sure his mic's not on.
right?
I don't need this guy giving
Spread
my
stories,
life
right?
secrets
Yeah.
to the public.
Yeah. Do you want to
Yeah.
pull that sucker? Try to keep
Seriously.
it like a fist from your mouth.
No life secrets.
All right,
You
all
keep
right,
your mouth
all right.
shut.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I bet you got some stories though.
Well, I've got more stories than he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Oh man. So you guys used to jam across the street. Was that like the start of the band? Was that starting to take
That was my
place?
second band. Yeah, my first band was in elementary school, 8th grade.
Really?
Yes, that was Scotia School. And we had a talent show, so that was our first gig. And then we had 8th grade graduation. That was our second gig. And so then I advanced as I got into high school, and I met Byron right there. And we started a band, and we had different bands throughout high school. So 79 to 83.
Wow. What? 79 was the start of the first band?
No, that was my first band with Byron in high school.
Was 79.
Yeah.
What year was the first band?
78?
78.
Yes.
And that was-
Scotia School,
Wow.
8th grade.
And did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, but I didn't have enough faith in myself to just go for it. I went to college for engineering and did that for, a decade and a half. So I wish I hadn't. I wish I had full confidence in music and just went for it from the beginning, but I didn't.
That's funny how you can psych yourself out like that. And you're doing something, you're passionate about it, but you're like, I don't know if this is ever going to, am I going to be able to pay the bills with this? Am I going to be a starving musician?
I didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah, and engineering's a pretty safe bet, right?
Yeah, I'm not really a gambler.
What kind of engineering were you doing?
It's electromechanical.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I designed membrane switches. So it was like touch switches, like mainly in hospitals, a lot of medical gear, and like a more standard kind of thing somebody might see would be like a microwave oven or cash register at fast food, the old ones. I don't know about now, but yeah, stuff like that. A lot of industrial equipment. And so I was also a manufacturing engineer. And I'm just glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I think you picked a safe path this way. Yeah, I think it panned out. Were you still in a band in college? Were you still pursuing music on the side?
Yeah, I've always had bands. But it wasn't until Super Diamond that I was able to quit my day job.
What year did it's 1993, right? That Super Diamond started?
Yes. Well, in 1992, but then we did our first show in 93. So we formed in like December of 92. And then we were ready for our first show March 30th of 93 at the Paradise Lounge in San Francisco. It was my favorite place. I used to love to go there and watch bands, but they closed down in the late 90s.
But you got to play there. You got to play there.
Oh, many times, yes. Yeah, so it was great. We got to play my favorite club, our first show. So, and we got a co-headline with the Billionaire Show, which all my friends here know and love. They're
awesome.
Corey Maccabee is now doing other names for his bands, like I don't remember, I can't even remember what, but super talented guy.
Were the other bands cover bands as well? Or were they more free reign? You guys were just
No, the
jamming?
band I had right before Super Diamond was all original, and that was 87 to 91. And it was a Phoenix-based band. I was living in Phoenix where I went to college, right out of high school. And yeah, all originals. And so I started singing Neil Diamond songs while I was in that band, while living in Phoenix. So it was 89 when I first did Sweet Caroline at an open mic hosted by Robin Wilson of the Gin Blossoms. We used to play with them a lot. We'd open for them at the Sun Club. What else? The Mason Jar. Chewy's. Anderson's Fifth Estate. A few Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe clubs. We used to play with the Gin Blossoms there. And so when I first started doing Sweet Caroline, I did it kind of just to get under people's skin, you know, just to piss them off. But they loved it.
Why did you think it would piss them off? That's a great song.
Because it was kind of a dark, grungy punk club, kind of.
Oh, so you were going against the grain.
Yeah. And I was surprised. You know, at that time in 89, you didn't hear Sweet Caroline like you do now. It was pretty much off the radar. And now it's, you know, in the top three, like what, Sweet Child of Mine, Sweet Caroline, and Don't Stop Believing. All right? Anything any more popular than those three?
Those are big ones. Wow. And so you were kind of just doing it as an act of rebellion in a sense.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm doing now with some Andy Williams. I've moved on.
Okay.
To other things, yes. I mean, I still do Neil Diamond, you know, 2, 3, 4 times a week. Traveling across the country, spreading the good word of Neil. No, I love it. The band is tighter than it's ever been. And we've been playing for 31 years. Over 31 years. And we are a machine. And I love it. We just played with the Boston Pops, and they are a machine. For all the symphonies that we played with in the United States, they are the best. And we've been doing symphony shows now for, I think, 13 or 14 years. We do about a half a dozen a year. And so it's a Super Diamond show with a symphony behind us. And I've heard, you know, I mean, we all have, the Boston Pops are the best. And yeah, they blew my mind. They are a machine. When we had a rehearsal the day before, and just from the first song, you could tell they were different. And so we were in awe. And then our sound guy, Dave, said they were really impressed with you guys. Said, really awesome. It's great. You know, and then the show is amazing. It was 7,500 people on Nantucket Island on the beach. And they handed everyone glow sticks. And they had them up, waving them. And there's a clip, if you want to see that, on our Facebook page. It's Super Diamond. And you can see, just somebody posted this on Facebook, and I saw it. And they tagged Super Diamond. And so then I shared it. So it's on our Super Diamond page on Facebook. And it's just a little clip of Sweet Caroline. And they're about halfway back. And about halfway back, they have a huge screen for people that are that far back so they can see. Because they had a lot of cameras filming the whole thing. They even had a drone up in the sky. And I saw the guy with the drone, and I went over and I was talking to him. And you could just see the footage right on his remote of just a massive 7,500 people.
Yeah, drone footage with a crowd that size. Everybody's got glow sticks.
Yeah. And so this person was in the perfect location. And so they had it on the stage, and then they veered over and you can see the screen. And then they did a 180 and went back, and you could see all the people behind and all this sea of glow sticks. And we were playing with a 70-piece orchestra, the Boston Pops. It was unreal. So good. And so good. So good.
Okay.
Anytime somebody says so good, I have to say it 3 times. So
does that feeling ever diminish in any way? The feeling when you're out on stage and you're looking out over the crowd and you're seeing all these people screaming right before you're about to play. You guys get on.
Never. And one of the reasons is because I always say, when people ask if I get bored doing, Neil Diamond songs every night, and I just say, well, I don't at all, because I just always strive to be better. So every show is generally 100 minutes. So an hour and 20? No, an hour and 25. Something like that. No, not really good at math, even though I was an engineer. I always had to use a calculator, But anyway, enough about that.
Math, you don't need math. You're out there rocking out, man.
Rock stars don't need to do that.
You can get somebody else to do math for you.
So anyway, the whole show, there's a lot of time in there. There's a lot of songs to perfect each line, each word, each, guitar solo. What am I doing during that guitar solo? Am I going over and getting a drink of water? I have to keep myself hydrated, and it really helps for a singer too, to really just take a drink when you can. But do I really need that drink right there at that part? Because maybe I had one just the song before. Maybe this specific part calls for a really cool move, kind of a dance move or something. So there's always something to perfect and always something to do better. And so I just always try to do that. Every song, every phrase, every chorus, every verse, every line, and every break, and time between songs, and the talking between songs, and all that. It's just so fun to try to perfect everything, and always make it better. And so it's a challenge, and it's great. And every show's a party. So there's never any reason to get bored,
Well, and that's almost the attitude that you would want to have, even after doing it for 3 decades, still trying to find the perfect set. Find out, okay, what happens if I move over here during this, or I do this move during this song? Just making those little tweaks to keep it interesting.
I've learned from the best, when I was in grade school, maybe early high school, I don't know. I was a big Kiss fan. And my friend Byron over here it's one of the reasons we bonded in 9th grade, is because we were both Kiss fans. And so that was it. And plus he was a drummer, and I was a guitar player. So, and going into high school, that was the thing I was thinking. I'm going to meet new people. I hope I meet some musicians. And I did. And Byron was the best. And so, it was amazing times. And so we both had Kiss posters on our wall. And, Kiss, they had they had every move down, and they had coordinated moves, and
had the look. I mean,
they had a look. That's for sure.
Well, they were showmen.
yeah, to say the least, right?
Yeah, they definitely showmen.
Yeah. So there's always going to be those influences, that are going to influence me to do this. And we may play Neil Diamond songs, but I mean, there's a lot of Kiss, and there's a lot of AC/DC, and there's a lot of Led Zeppelin. There's a lot of Pink Floyd, and there's a lot of
Bowie,
David Bowie, and Van Halen, and Oingo Boingo in our show. So
just mixing all of those elements
yeah.
in.
Yeah, all the hard rock from the late 70s and the new wave from the 80s and the I skipped the hair metal of the late 80s, but some of the guys in my band like that. So I don't know, there's a little Guns N' Roses. Sweet Child of Mine morphed into Sweet Caroline in there. It's not my choice, but those guys have to be able to
express,
add some of their influences
have a little
in there
flair
as well.
on their own. Yeah,
I've got 4 bandmates, so we're partners, and we've got to all have fun creating and doing our what I like to call a surreal interpretation of Neil Diamond. It's not really a straight up tribute, even that's what it is, still a tribute, but not like standard tributes, where they're just trying to be exactly like the artists that they're playing their music. But I've never tried to really look like them. Okay, well, maybe the first few shows I was wearing some fake sideburns, but I was just
you got to start somewhere.
just the clothes, just the bling, just the.
I was just experimenting a little bit.
Yeah, I got to see what works, right? You're just starting out. You're trying to feel out where you fit into this.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a long time ago. I was in my early 20s.
Yeah, that helps, right? Because you're like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to figure out how this goes.
Yeah.
So you start out with original music, and then you start playing the Neil Diamond song as kind of like a test in that atmosphere. How long from that point to when you realize, oh, maybe I should start a cover band for Neil Diamond?
Yeah. So I had my all original band, Down Boy, and we were playing the scene around the Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa area, and the Valley of the Sun, they call it. And so I didn't really have any songs up my sleeve when I went to a party and there was somebody passing around an acoustic guitar, and the guy that played Brown Eyed Girl was like the big hit, and I didn't have anything like that. I knew the songs that my guitar teacher, growing up, a couple of local guys. The first teacher was David Wallaker. He taught me how to play guitar when I was in 8th grade. He went to Fort Ten High School. And then after a year, he said he taught me all he knew, and so he had to stop. And so I seeked out a new teacher. A band played at our Fortuna High School dance at the gymnasium there. I don't remember his band name.
George.
No. So the band that played, I thought the guitar player was amazing, and so I went up to him afterwards and I said, "Do you give guitar lessons?" And he said, "No, but I can." His name is Brad Holman. And so he started giving me guitar lessons, and he taught me lots of Steely Dan, Doobie Brothers, and, just jazz rock kind of stuff. And, which was great because I learned with the Steely Dan, I learned lots of cool jazz chords that are really good now for me to have. But when that guitar would come around to me and I'm trying to play Steely Dan, it wasn't really the hit of the party. And so when I learned I could do a decent Neil Diamond, I thought I got to do that because I grew up, my first 8-track tape was Neil Diamond's 12 greatest hits. And so I just thought, this takes me back to my childhood. I love nostalgia. I love, the music that, my mom listened, that my mom loved, and my dad growing up. And so I thought, I got to do Sweet Caroline. And so I did it at the Sun Club in Tempe in 1989. The event, the open mic, it was kind of an acoustic open mic. So it wasn't just a regular open mic. It was kind of for bands, local bands. And people were scheduled, I think, ahead of time. And it was hosted by Robin Wilson, the singer of Gin Blossoms. And so I just went up there and did that. I did a couple originals and I threw in Sweet Caroline. And so that was kind of my first cover I had ever sung in front of people, even though I was in cover bands in high school, but I wasn't really the singer. I was just a guitar player. And yeah, it just brought the house down. You know, all these alternative people, you know, just loved it. I thought it was going to be the opposite. I was going to get under their skin, you know, but they loved it. And so I just kind of kept going. I kept learning more and more Neil Diamond songs. And the next thing you know, I've got an all Neil Diamond cover band, which is it's really fun. And I still have a great time doing it. Was
that the plan when you started seeing that success? Thinking,
no.
I need to do a band of this.
Not for a while, you know, maybe it was 6 months after I was kind of thinking that. I remember jamming with a drummer one time and didn't, you know, we just kind of played one of the songs with him and it wasn't he's not the right person. And it took 4 years until I met the right people. I never wanted to run an ad, you know, and get like older guys that were from a hotel circuit or something that did, you know, old covers from the 60s and 70s or something. And, because Neil Diamond wasn't really known as a rock guy, you know. He was I always heard him compared to more like to Barry Manilow, you know, like mom rock. So we always said, no, Neil Diamond's rock. Neil Diamond's, you know. And that's always been a part of our show. At the end of the show, I always say, don't ever let anyone tell you that Neil Diamond doesn't rock. And so we had a lot of fun with that.
Great way to finish out a show.
They do rock. It's a great show. Like nobody ever leaves. I've been to, I don't know, probably close to 100 of their shows, go 3 or 4 to 10 a year. And I've never ever seen one person leave that show like, oh God, that sucked. Like everybody's just smiling and happy and like, that was awesome. They're just like, it's a party. Like you said, it's a party. The whole atmosphere is just happy partying people. Like it's just a great show.
What more could you ask for from a show, especially a live show?
Diversity of the age is amazing. Like you get young, you know, teenagers all the way up to 70-year-old grandmothers. They're just like loving it, you know.
Awestruck, having a good time.
So awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a 3-generation family, grandmother, mother, daughter. They come to a lot of our shows in LA. They just came to our Hollywood show a few weeks ago, and they all had their Neil Diamond t-shirts on, and so cute. I mean, and even the grandmother looks really good and young. They all look, you know, they all look pretty young, and it's 3 generations.
All coming out to see you play.
Daughter, mother, grandmother, they come together. They all 3 come together. It's amazing.
How hard is it to find your voice when you're doing a cover band like that and find your sound also in the sound of Neil Diamond?
It's really easy because I can do, I do like, what do you call it? Impressions. Yeah, impressions. I can do voices. Not really talking voices, but singing voices. I don't know. I think I do a better Andy Williams than I do Neil Diamond.
Really?
Yes. And I think I do a better David Bowie and maybe Jim Morrison, and maybe Depeche Mode. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of threw that in. I love Depeche Mode too. And, but yeah, I could do voices. So it would just, you know, but somehow like my voice is still in those impressions. So I guess that would be the answer. Is just my voice is still in there. Like sometimes I'm embarrassed because I don't really sound like Neil Diamond. You know, people say I sound just like him. I hear that a lot. I'm sure a lot of people don't think that as well. But it's just the inflections and the kind of the way somebody's voice is. You can do that even if your voice doesn't really sound like them. You can do the styling of it. And it's easier to do low voices for me. Like I can't do a Foreigner or a Journey or a Bee Gees.
Something higher pitched. Yeah.
You know, like I never knew I could sing because when we were in high school In fact, I just realized Byron and Jerry and I all were in the same class. So we were all born in 1965 and graduated in 1983 from high school together. And all the bands that we liked during that time had high voices. It was Journey. It was Foreigner. It was Loverboy. It was Jefferson Starship.
All the women,
Dio,
Joe and Jet, and
Judas Priest. I couldn't sing any of that stuff. I didn't even try because I was a guitar player, like since 8th grade. So all through high school, I was just so into guitar. I didn't even think about it if I could sing. I mean, we ran ads for singers, right? Gotta be a singer out there. Running ads for singers, not even thinking maybe I could try it myself. So I would just, focused on guitar, which is great because now I can hold it down pretty good when I'm playing solo.
Yeah, it's almost valuable to start out that way because you have to focus on your craft.
Absolutely.
So you're focusing on learning how to play the guitar the best you can.
Yeah. And, and like I said, all the music we listened to, I couldn't sing that stuff. So it was just a bad time for a low vocalist, to realize maybe you can do it, So, I don't know. I guess I didn't listen to enough Doors when I was in high school.
When did you start to sing? When did you realize, oh, maybe I could do this?
First band I sang in was Down Boy in 87. So I was 23 or something.
Were you singing on your own prior to that? Or were you guys looking for a singer and just couldn't find one?
Bands that I had prior to Down Boy, we ran ads for singers. Yeah.
So why did you start singing?
Singer
for Down
wanted,
Boy?
must have long hair.
That was a requirement?
It was back then. I didn't put that in my ad, but there was a lot of ads that had that. If you're in a metal band,
gotta have the hair.
I was never in a metal band. Must have long hair. I'm sorry, what was your question?
So why did you start singing for that group? You guys just couldn't find a singer?
Because I was always singing in my car. And at that time I was really I got, right out of high school, in college, I got into alternative, modern rock, new wave, kind of, 80s. So The Cure, Depeche Mode, Boingo Boingo.
The Tubes,
all those bands. So that's, I could sing to that stuff. And I realized, wow, I was singing in my car. I'd crank it up and I'd just sing at the top of my lungs. And I realized I could sing. So I guess I lost a lot of singing years out of my life, but that's all right.
But you got better at the guitar.
I did. And so that paid off.
Yeah. Maybe if you had started to sing in the beginning, maybe you would have never picked up the guitar. You would have just been a lead singer.
Good.
Yeah, or wouldn't be as good. Man, the band lifestyle is just, it's crazy for someone who obviously is not in a band and not from that world. But you hear the stories of everybody, if you had to pick one thing to do with your life, being a rock star is definitely up there. Right? Traveling the world, playing different
there's
venues.
A lot of different levels of what goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have it better than most bands that are bigger than us. Yeah, they make a lot more money, get a lot more fame, all that stuff. We're just a Neil Diamond cover band. Okay. But
they're
but what we have
number
is
one
variety.
Neil Diamond cover
What
band.
we have is variety. All the big bands that are in the big stadiums all the time, it's always the same thing every day. It's, being driven into your loading dock and following the yellow line, the arrows to your dressing room, and then following the other yellow lines on the way into the stage. And then, sound checking. Well, they don't have to sound check, but no, they definitely have a lot better than we do, for sure. But we do have variety, and that's nice because one show is a nightclub, and then maybe there's a restaurant next door and they feed us there or something, or we have to go out and find our own meal, whatever, just look on Apple Maps and find something. And then the next one is a symphony, and it's completely different. And then the next one is a wedding, then a fundraiser. And so like it's all kinds of venues. Maybe an outdoor concert in the park. They're all different. And then a fair, a county fair. We just did the Del Norte County Fair. And we just did the San Mateo County Fair and the Marin County Fair. So we've been doing a lot of those lately, and they're really fun.
Casinos.
Fireworks afterwards.
Casinos. Fireworks are a nice touch.
Well, we just did 4th of July at the Marin County Fair. And casinos, like we just did Tahoe. The only bad thing about casinos is they're smoky.
They've gotten better, though. I'm thinking
some of
Vegas has gotten way better with the smokiness. I don't know about some of the smaller
lot of
ones.
them have. Even the smaller ones over around the Chico area, there's a lot of non-smoking now. I think even Bear River now is non-smoking. They have a smoking section, but the main part is, I think, non-smoking.
Yeah, that's got to be challenging. Trying to get up on stage and sing and you're choking on smoke.
Well, the one we just played in Tahoe was smoky, but not where the stage was, not where the room where they don't smoke in, there. It's just,
where the venue's going to be for you guys.
It's a separate room, but it's still connected. So, you're walking through the casino to get to the room and you're just smelling the smoke. But then when I was playing, I didn't smell it. It was fine there. But just, walking through the casino, it was pretty bad.
What were the early days like? Were you guys touring around the country? Were you just playing local venues?
Well, we first started out just as a San Francisco band, the first few years, and then branched out to San Jose and Santa Cruz, and then LA, and then Portland, and then San Diego, and then Denver. Just kept branching out. So, we've been doing the whole country for many decades, but it took maybe 5 years to eventually get to that point where we're playing all over the country. But we didn't plan that. It didn't even cross my mind. So
what did you think when you were starting, that this is just going to be a local thing? We'll play a few venues, have fun, good way to kill a Friday night.
Yeah, have fun singing some Neil Diamond songs.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I'm very nostalgic. I love just things that remind me of my youth, growing up as a kid, music my mom always played, and I still do it all the time. Last night I did my lounge show. I do usually once a month. I call it Evening of Lounge. And I just did it last night in San Francisco at the White Rabbit. And I do a lot of songs that my mom loved, when I was growing up, like Love Is in the Air. Did that one last night. And it just reminds me of my youth. And I love that. I mean, who doesn't, right?
Are your parents still around?
Yeah. We lost my dad last year. It's been really hard too, because we were all so close. But mom's in Fortuna, still at the house. And so I'm staying there for a few days. And it's great to come home to Humboldt County, see family and friends. And especially great to come and be able to do a show for the hometown area.
Yeah, that's got to be a weird feeling, coming back to your hometown and you're performing.
It's really amazing to, rather than looking out in the audience and maybe seeing a couple people that I know, it's like I look out in the audience and there's only a couple people I don't know. It's the opposite. It's like I know everybody except, who are those people there?
And then you talk to them after the show and you're like, oh, I do know you. There's some familial connection. Yeah, it's a crazy thing to start out doing. You're just going to pursue music. You're going to do this thing. And then it just takes off slowly. I mean, it's not that simplistic, right? I imagine in the beginning days, you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't even know what working would look like.
From the first show at the Paradise Lounge, March 30th, 1993, it was pretty clear from that first show, like, wow, people like this. Here. Yeah, because it was a lot of people there at the first show. And I remember I booked this. No, I didn't. Wait, I didn't book that show. No, I didn't. But I ended up booking the shows after that for a while. And so I called them about another show, and they said, well, I don't know if we're interested. That was just all your friends at your first show. And I said, no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. No, there was a lot of people there that we didn't know. And they said, okay. So they gave us another chance, and it just kept growing.
How long was it that you started playing the Fillmore?
1996 was our first time there. I think April.
Are you selling that place out?
Yeah, we sold out, I think, 3 of the 4 times that we played there.
Well, that's just a couple of years later.
Yeah, 1996. Yeah.
The week after
3 years.
Tom Petty was playing there?
Yeah, I saw Steve Miller Band there. I saw Hall & Oates there. Many, many bands. And for a while there, they asked me to do a solo like performance for in the upstairs poster room with other bands. So I got to play with Stone Temple Pilots, Queen Latifah, Superchunk, I can't remember. I know there's a few other big ones. And then, between bands, like I would play first, and then the opening band would go on, and then I'd play again between the sets, and then the headliner would go on. So I'd do like 2 45-minute sets, solo acoustic. And so yeah, some great times. And that was when the Fillmore first reopened after being closed for a long time. San Francisco history. Rock and roll history. Right?
Rock and roll history. Do any other cover bands have any sense of longevity like you guys have had? I mean, 3 decades doing this is kind of insane.
There's a few out there. Wild Child, Doors Tribute. I remember seeing them in BAM magazine when I was in high school. And you'd come into Eureka, and there was a couple of record stores, The Works and another one, and you go into them, and that's where you could get a BAM magazine. And it was a Bay Area magazine, music magazine. And I remember seeing I look at the clubs and see the bands that were playing these clubs. I didn't know any of them, but I would still look at them. And I remember seeing Wild Child even when I was in high school. So that was sometime between 79 and 83. And they're still going. And I have a friend who really likes like tribute bands and stuff. He lives in LA. It's a female friend she's really into it, and just she's bands in general. She goes to all kinds of shows, but she frequents tribute bands as well. And she really thinks that Wild Child is really great. She is a big fan. I've never seen them, but I've seen videos of them. And they do sound really good from what I've heard. And they've been around a long time.
I wonder, though, if there's any tribute bands that have had the person that they're tributing come and sing on stage with them like you have. They've had Neil Diamond on stage.
What was that like?
Mind-blowing. So good.
Did he give you a hard time when he first met you?
No.
Hey, man.
No, he was in our dressing room waiting to meet us when we walked in, and he was in there, and he said, "Thank you for doing what you're doing." And I said, "Thank you for not suing us."
Yeah.
I knew he couldn't sue us. It's just,
But still cool to have him on board and support you guys.
Oh, yeah. So then, we're talking, and I said, "Would you like to come out and sing a song?" Thinking he'd say no for sure. He said, "Yeah." Wow. All right. What song? Sweet Caroline? He goes, "You want to make me work?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what. You pick." And so he picked I Am I Said, which was the encore. So it's perfect because I walk off for the encore. The band stays out there, or sometimes they walk off too, whatever. But they stayed out there. So then he was there on the side of the stage.
And nobody knew that was in the audience?
"You walk out." He goes, "You." And I go, "Okay, well, I'll walk out first and then you walk out." Okay. So I walked out, got my guitar, and like I started I Am I Said, the intro to it. And then he walks out or no, I don't know. Maybe he walked out first. Seemed like maybe he walked out first. I don't know. It was 2000. It was a long time ago. 24 years ago. That's easy to figure out.
Math, dude.
Wow.
That was the first time he sang with us.
And what a shock for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see him just walk out and you're thinking, what is happening?
Can you attribute?
Wait.
Come to see a tribute band, you get Neil Diamond.
That's not the surreal Neil. That's the real Neil.
Yeah.
The real Neil.
The other one was just
Yeah.
crazy.
We have video of it.
Man.
We have a video of it. It's up on our
Promo.
probably again. You can probably see it at
On the
Super
website,
Diamond on
Facebook.
Facebook. There's a clip on there. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife, who is now my ex-wife, but still, one of my best friends. She took the video, and so then she got that when he was out there, and it's like 5 minutes of the crowd just going crazy, and you can see because she was up on the balcony just right above it, so it was a perfect shot, and you could see all the hands just reaching out, and it took 5 minutes of that before he could finally start singing because it was so loud. And it's a ballad. He couldn't start coming in on LA's fine, the sun shines most of the time. He couldn't do that. It was just too loud.
Quiet.
And so it was just and then she got him starting to sing. She didn't get the whole thing, but she got part of it. But I edited that out to put it online because I didn't want to put the whole thing up on the web, and he didn't have any sound check. He didn't have any inner monitors. There's a monitor on the floor, but I used inner monitors, and he wouldn't even been able to hear himself. So, I didn't want to put that online, even though it would have been amazing to put online, but I didn't think it'd be very respectful to do that. So we just put the crowd adoring him for I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, and then I cut it off. So we only have the video of him singing with us, and it's just for our ears only.
What a surreal experience. I mean, even for you to be up there on stage with him. You're singing his songs, and then you get to meet the guy.
Yeah, amazing.
Growing up, listening to his tapes, having his 8-track tape, and then he's on stage with him. Yeah.
Cut to you there with him,
Yeah.
singing the song. Crazy experience.
Yeah.
So the start of the band, all original members still today?
No, not all. We have a different drummer. Our third drummer. First drummer was only with us a year, and then the next drummer was with us, I think, 3 or 4 years. And then Vince came along in the year 2000. That's very easy to remember. The year 2000.
24 years ago.
24 years ago.
We're getting this math thing down.
Yes.
I think we've got it set now.
Yeah, he joined us right before Neil set in with it. It was that same year. And so he's been with us 24 years. And then our guitar player is the other new guy. He's been with us 14 years. I don't remember what year it was that he joined us.
But
Not even going to try to
2010.
figure it out.
But it was 2010.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why Jerry's here. He's just going to help you with the math.
But so yeah, he's the new guy, 14 years.
Still a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
They're tight.
So we've been the same band for 14 years.
It's got to be incredibly challenging keeping a group of guys together over that amount of time. I mean, what's your schedule look like when you guys are out playing shows?
I don't know what it is right now. We used to do 120-ish a year, and then it got down to maybe 75 shows a year. Now it's probably closer to, I'd say maybe 90 a year, something like that.
A majority of those away from home?
Yeah.
So you're
We only
on the
do,
road
like,
a lot.
2 San Francisco shows a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But then there's a lot of other Bay Area shows like the Sweetwater in Mill Valley, the Guild in Menlo Park, Napa, the East Bay, other places in Marin and Sonoma, the Mystic Theater in Petaluma. Road Nicasio was a cool place we just played in Marin. The Garden, Walnut Creek. And over the years, many different places. Club Fox in Redwood City.
What's been your favorite venue?
Bimbo's 365 Club in San Francisco. Old supper club from the 30s. Italian immigrant named Bimbo, who started the club when he was young. Now his grandsons manage it, run it. They own the building, so it's just such an amazing old school venue. And they've got a lot of great shows there too. It's all kinds of national artists.
Is it hard keeping the group dynamic solid? I mean, are you guys...
No, it's easy. My partners are
You guys
great.
aren't fighting. You guys aren't having any squabbles.
No.
Everyone's pretty solid.
No, pretty solid. Easy to get along and just great musicians.
I mean, that's the thing you always hear, right? Is those great bands that just didn't go the distance. They broke up, trying to keep everybody together, and everyone's got these different directions they want to take the band, and maybe they're not getting enough shine or as much shine as they feel like they should be getting, and then they start...
Yeah, that's the rule, not the exception, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the exception, not the rule, for sure.
That's cool that you guys have managed to cultivate that and stay tight. I mean, telling from your friends, people can't see in the studio here, but it seems like you're pretty tight. You've managed to cultivate a great group of people around you and keep them.
It's got to be hard to always be, hiring new people or bringing in new people and not working out and
just lonely being on the road, especially if you don't get along with your bandmates and you're just stuck with them and you're like, oh man, this is not great. What am I doing?
Yeah, we're always, it's so easy to be around each other, and we're always going to restaurants on the road, and we're always sitting at gates at the airport or walking to the gate. Sometimes it's a long walk when you drop off the rent-a-car, and then you're just long walk just to the shuttle, and then you get on a shuttle, trying to find somewhere to sit, stand, and then you get off the shuttle, and then it's like a half a mile walk to your gate after going through security and everything else. It's it's really easy for us to be together, and we always have something we can talk about and share our phones. Oh, look at this. Jokes and whatever. Songs. We're always in rent-a-cars together too, so we're always trying to find a station, and it's easy. Somebody puts on something, it's great.
Do you guys still write any of your own stuff just to play for you guys, or maybe bust out at a show here and there? Yeah,
we're not really a writing team, Super Diamond, but I do my own stuff, and some of the guys do some of their own things, and then I often use them to play on my stuff. Like I'm writing and recording a new album right now, and this is the first album I haven't used them. On all the other albums I did, This one I'm doing all myself, except I'm going to hire some string players. Who knows? Maybe by the time it's done, one of them will be on it,
Is this your first album of original work?
No, I've done original stuff since the 80s. As I mentioned earlier, Down Boy was all original. And then since Super Diamond, I've done 4 original albums since Super Diamond started, which isn't really that many for 31 years. I got to say, I've gotten a little lazy, being so busy with Super Diamond. But right now I'm really having fun being back to the studio, and I've got my own home studio now where I can do it all myself. So it's amazing.
What does your writing process look like? Are you pulling from experiences from on the road, just from your life in general?
Well, most of the time I've written about other people, but this one is definitely getting a little more personal, which is really fun. Just going through like divorce, 5 years ago was a good, even though it was very easy and very loving, it's still hard. And so I've got a couple songs that were inspired by that. And so it's really, really great having more of a personal album. And so it's definitely my best. I know everybody says that, but I've changed. Like I would have like a 12 to 16 song album, and I think this next one is going to be less than 7. It's going to be more of an EP because I don't want any filler anymore. I just want every song that I'm working on right now is I love all of them, and I think they're all my best. And I've spent a lot more time on these songs than I did in the past. And it's very exciting. And thanks for asking about that, by the way.
Well, it's got to be one of, sitting down to write a song. And this is all speculative because I've never done that. But I would imagine if you're going to get personal, that's a great avenue to dissect your life in that way. Because you're just sitting with yourself, putting your words to music, figuring out, okay, what am I trying to say in this moment? What do I want the audience to hear? What do I want to hear?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a personal therapy in some sense.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, in the 80s, like I got into alternative music. And so I'm not really into that much. Since the 80s, I haven't been into pop music as much. Most of my favorite bands, it seems like most people I meet have never heard of them. And so I still am into that, so I know my music isn't for the masses. It's not for everybody. It's still kind of I'm still into that alternative genre. And, but I love it, and that's all I care about. Just writing songs for me, not to be hits in a movie soundtrack or something. It's not really, it doesn't interest me. I just don't want to put any time into something like that. And so, that's kind of, where my stuff's at. And I got to say, it's really like my new stuff that I'm doing on this new album. I love playing live more than I ever have with any of my other songs. Like I used to love playing my other songs with a band, but not as much solo acoustically. But now acoustically, these songs is in a whole different league. So I think when I say that these songs are better than my other ones, I think that is kind of like the proof. Like if they sound just really great, just playing on an acoustic guitar without a band, I think that's kind of says something,
Yeah, there's a different level that the song has to be on if you're going to go acoustic.
And I've never even really heard that mentioned before. It just kind of like occurred to me. Why didn't I really like playing my other songs on the other albums solo acoustically? They just don't work as well. Why? I don't know.
And to be fair, if you were saying, I don't know where this album stacks up, I don't know if it's one of my best, that would be alarming, right? So you almost have to say, I think this is my best work.
But everybody says that. So when I said that, I was almost kind of like, it's almost kind of like a joke, even though I was being serious. I'm kind of like, I was kind of laughing because all artists say that this is my best. And then like, come on, I've been tricked so many times. I've been tricked by all my favorite bands, like I don't believe any of them anymore. It's like rarely is ever true, but you know what, like I'm not really making a living doing my own original music. I'm making a living doing Neil Diamond songs and perfectly happy doing that. I'm not complaining, but I love doing my original music, and I'll never stop doing it. It's like, who knows, like I'm old now. I'm probably too old to like make it in music again, like with my original music or something, but who knows? You just got to do what you love, and it's not about trying to do anything with it. I'm like most of my albums, I'm just doing it for myself, and it's art, right? It's It's fun to create something.
Is it a weird kind of dichotomy of finding success in this venue, playing music as a cover band, while also trying to get your personal music off the ground, your original work?
No, it's like being able to quit my day job was the best thing for my original music, because I'm usually just gone on the weekends singing Neil Diamond songs. And then I'm all free during the week, and I've got lots of free time to put into my original music. So it's really a blessing. And also it's just all the experience that I've gotten from Super Diamond. It's just so valuable for me in every way as a musician. Like my voice is, the voice is a muscle, and you have to work that muscle like anything else, any other part of your body. If you want to, work your body out, work out, and it's the same thing. You got to work that muscle in your voice to have a good voice. And I'm lucky that I get to sing 2-3 times a week, sometimes with Super Diamond, and work that muscle. And it really helps me for everything else. I've kind of got 3 different worlds of music that I'm doing right now currently, and that's Super Diamond, my lounge show, which is usually just once a month, but I love it. And the lounge show is a lot of Andy Williams and Burt Bacharach and some Dean Martin and some Frank Sinatra and, the old crooners, Engelbert Humperdinck. Thanks to Byron for suggesting a couple of his songs. And some Doors too. They're kind of loungy. And so I love that. Old 50s, 60s, old jazz standards and stuff like that. And then my original music, which I have my home studio now. So just being home and crafting and recording songs. And for the first time, I'm mixing my own album as well, because I've invested in my studio gear in my studio. So just the power that I have, and a lot of people have, with having your own home studio, it's amazing. And I've been putting more money into that. So I've got, everything I need now. And now it's just the know-how. So thank goodness for YouTube and things like that, where I can just go on, and figure out how to sidechain compression and parallel processing and all the things to really do to just make the mix more professional, because like I said, this is my first album mixing, doing everything myself. Other albums, the last 2 albums I've done, I've recorded most of my vocals and guitars at home, but then I give the files to an engineer in a studio to do the mixing. So, this is the first time doing my own. And I don't know, I can't complain, and there's the different worlds of the different things that I do, they're all separate, and I love them all. They're all so satisfying in so many different ways. And I'm lucky that I've got all these different worlds of music, and the lounge show, like, who's into that music anymore? I mean, the only people that really know those old Andy Williams songs, the only people that I could play for would be maybe tour around to retirement homes. And I'm going to start doing that just because those people appreciate that music so much.
You got to find your fan base.
And, it's something I could really do to give back. So I'm going to start. That's one of my goals. I've done it a little bit. I'm going to do more of it. It's so amazing to play for. There were some people in this home that I played at that might not even recognize their own children. They were really bad, but they were singing softly. I could tell they were singing along, and it was just an amazing experience.
Well, it brings back the nostalgia for them.
And
they get to relive those moments.
Part of their brain, it's like they can still remember that stuff and music, and it's just amazing. And so, I've got some exciting things I want to be doing in the future with that genre of music, those old jazz standards from the 50s and some of that stuff is even 30s and 40s. I've been finding out, I just learned an Andy Williams version, a jazz version of You Are My Sunshine. And that song goes back How far? That's anybody know?
Jerry, bust out the
30s,
math.
20s?
Help us out.
10s? No,
Google.
it goes back. Yeah. Figure that out. Is there a restaurant?
Yeah. If you split the curtain right there
Right here.
Okay.
and just go straight,
Yeah.
the door's right there.
I see on the Joe Rogan show, they do this all the time.
Yeah, you just
Cut.
break the curtain.
Cool.
Oh man, that's cool that you guys are all still tight and hanging out, and because
Lot
it's
of
so hard to
years.
maintain friendships, especially nowadays. But
Well, we
to
have
stay tight.
probably
We live apart.
about 100 people in our class that still kind
Pretty-
of get together on here and there. We maybe not all of them all at once, but we kind of stay in touch. And we had a pretty cool reunion last summer in Las Vegas. It was pretty awesome. I think there was only about 20 people or so that went to that, but it was fun.
do you want to
Good
do me a
time.
favor? Just pull that sucker a little closer to your mouth. Byron, that mic is active too. If you want to.
Oh, it is.
I
was just hanging.
just switched it out. You won't have a camera angle on you, but
That's all
I
right.
can hear your voice. What do you guys make of this?
It's awesome. My world is in automotive and racing and stuff. And so it's fun to be able to go and see the rock star world and get a little flavor.
Dip
and
your
get
toe in a
yeah,
little bit.
exactly. And yeah, it's great. I enjoy it a lot. It's just the whole progression was awesome. Randy came, I remember somewhere in the early 90s, Randy came home. I was living in Humboldt at the time, and he was talking about, I think I'm going to put a Neil Diamond tribute band together.
Mhm.
And at the time, surrealistic was like the buzzword. Everybody was like, everything was surrealistic, And I was like, you could be the surreal Neil. He's like, yeah, I like that. So that was my contributing factor.
Good
to the whole thing.
contribution.
Yeah. So he became Surreal Neil. But yeah, he was talking about, I got these guys in this band that I'm gonna try to get to, do this. I played he was playing like a little Mexican restaurant a couple nights a week, and I started playing Neil Diamond, everybody loves it. And it's like, hey, why not? And San Francisco was just like the perfect place to bring it back, I think. Just everybody just sucked it up. I remember going to the Fillmore, some of the early shows there, and there would be scalpers out front. And I think that the tickets were like $15 or so, but the scalpers were like $40 for the tickets. And, this is back in the 90s and stuff. I was like, dang, they're scalping tickets out front. It's like sold out show. Oh, yeah,
It's a real
great.
experience.
It's been great.
No, I was going to add on to that one of the things that I don't know why it's always been in my head watching Randy. I just enjoy watching the other people watch him and enjoy the show.
Mhm.
And I always think back to those days in our freshman year in high school after meeting him in an English class, what can you teach or show somebody you have a talent? He brought a guitar to class.
How to.
What was it?
It was like how to do something.
And I'm like, this kid's playing China Grove by the Doobie Brothers on a guitar. And I looked around the room and everyone's kind of like, oh, okay. And but I was like, he's a musician. So and the reason I'm telling that story is like when I still see him on stage, even to this day, like Jerry, I've seen him 100 times, but I'm like, there's that kid I knew from Fortuna High School, and look at him now. He's up there and he's playing. I'm just I'm happy for him. And and we've seen the show so many times and everything, but I kind of look at it at a different way. Like, good for him. Like, he's having a good time, and I'm really liking seeing all these people enjoy watching him play. I'm like, damn, good for him, man.
It's awesome.
That's
the
great.
persona because he's definitely has his Surreal Neil down, and growing up and knowing him the way that I do, it's really cool to see
You get to see him
Randy
step into that.
yeah, and really play it up, and he does such a great job.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, guys.
Was it hard kind of finding support in a small town? Because, for people that don't know, we're a pretty small area up here, especially down where you were born and raised, and even in Fortuna and Ferndale. Was there a support network for you in the early days of your music? Or did you kind of have to build that in yourself?
There was no school of rock like the kids have today. I've seen a lot of the school, sometimes School of Rock in a certain town will open for us. Like we play every year in Littleton, Colorado, every summer, usually every July 3rd. And we were just there this last July 3rd. And the Littleton School of Rock opened for us. It's such a great thing for community to have and to do that, and they got to play for, I don't know, it's like 3,500 people, and they were a really great band. And there's been other ones that have done that. And I wish we had that. We had nothing. I mean, we had to play in the jazz band if you just wanted to play in anything in the school. And I joined it and then I quit the first day. I was like, what, I got to wear that stupid hat?
Yeah.
No
I'm
way.
out.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm not going to wear that uniform. No, I'm not going to wear that hat. It was like this big, it's like a Pope hat, right? Byron knows he wore one because he stayed. He was in it.
You didn't leave.
No, Byron, not me. I'm
He's
not
in
musical.
He's in the band.
That's why I went to the bathroom. You knew this story was
Yeah,
coming out. I was
yeah.
like, nope, I don't want to talk about band.
Yeah, he was in the band. He played in the jazz band, but I quit the first day. I was like, no, I'm not going to wear that.
This is not for me.
No. And so there was nothing for us. So we wanted to practice. We wanted to jam every day at school. So we'd go in the music room, and the music teacher hated us because we were in a rock band. And so he'd come in. We'd be in a little room playing Van Halen with the electric guitar cranked up. He'd come in with the decibel meter. This is Fortuna High.
Yeah.
And he'd come in with the decibel meter and be like, "You're too loud. Turn it down." And every day, it'd be the same thing every day. But I was telling him about how I joined jazz band because that was the only support we had was if you wanted to play guitar in school, it was jazz band. And I quit the first day when I found out I had to wear the hat and the uniform, which you know about because you stayed in. You played all through high school.
That wasn't a red line for you. You're
No.
like, I could do this.
Well, I think the story's kind of jazz band. You didn't wear anything. You wore whatever you wanted. But in the regular band,
The marching band?
Yeah. I loved the marching band. I loved playing those tri-toms and
You
the
looked
snare
really,
drum.
I got to say, you looked really goofy in that hat.
Yeah. One time in band camp.
Up on the mantle.
Big furry hat.
Yeah. Big furry blue hat. The
Blue and
Husky
white for the
marching
Huskies.
band.
Oh, man.
Were you a Husky?
No, I went to EHS. I was in Eureka, so
Okay.
I was a logger. Stayed
Oh.
up here, yeah. We would just go down there, visit my grandfather, and hang out. We spent a lot of time in Fortuna.
On Hillside Drive.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly where your
Still there.
grandparents lived, right across the street from Byron's.
Like
Back
I said,
where you
we
grew
used
up.
to open
Jam.
that garage up and Tony would
Yeah,
come
we
out.
put the garage up and we were playing 25 or 64
Yeah.
by
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And we didn't sing then because, like
No.
I said, we didn't know we could sing. So we just
Right.
play guitar and drums and we just.
Tony came over a couple times. What are you guys doing?
Checking it out.
Yeah.
Over and
over
over and over. And we thought we'd play for the Machados,
Yeah,
Family.
Little did they know.
We have an audience.
Yeah.
Let's just crank it up and play for them.
One perfect area out there because you guys could just play as loud as you want.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to worry about anybody coming over and complaining. Well,
They came over a couple of times, he said.
yeah.
Couple times. But it wasn't
But they
your
were nice
family.
about it. And they were like
Yeah.
trying to be respectful. Like,
Yeah,
what
it was-
are you doing over here?
The next door neighbors. Yeah.
Trying to watch the ball game. What are you guys doing? And we were like too young to get it. We're like, oh yeah.
We're just practicing.
You love
No,
it, right?
we were like, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we don't have any resources to support music in that way, but we do have a lot of bands out here. There's a lot of underground music in some ways of people just trying to make it, trying to start something up.
Great. That's great. I think maybe, what do you call it? The Nintendo Apple guitar or whatever that is. That thing probably
Oh,
inspired
rock.
like,
Oh, Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably inspired some kids.
Oh, absolutely. Probably kept a lot of kids from actually learning how to play the real guitar, too. They just stuck with Guitar Hero.
That's true.
Yeah, nowadays I was watching a video the other day. They have that Apple VR headset, and you can learn to play the piano on that, and you don't need a physical piano at all.
Wow.
It just tracks the keys coming down, and so whatever, you could map it onto your table, and you would just play on your table. You don't actually need the physical instrument.
Wow. Can you learn though with a real piano? I bought a baby grand, and I'm trying to learn how to use it.
Yeah, you could pick up an Apple headset, do that. I think the Meta one works too, but I mean, that's just a cool little avenue for people that don't have physical instrument. If you buy the headset or some other medium like that, you can just learn to play the instrument.
That's amazing.
I don't know how that would work for guitar. I don't know if they've quite figured that part out yet, but for the piano, you're covered.
Wow.
Do you play any other instruments besides the guitar and piano?
A little harmonica, just
bass.
a little piano.
You play bass and basketball?
Oh yeah, bass. I mean, that's a guitar. Yeah, I can play bass, and
That's
pretty
cool
much
stand-up bass.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, stand-up bass, still a bass.
You still love playing the guitar?
Oh yeah, I love it. Especially now that it was about 2 years ago, just coming out of lockdown, I bought a couple used Andy Williams records for $2 each. And that's kind of changed my life lately musically. I'm so into the old jazz standards and stuff now, that with Andy Williams' beautiful voice. And so I've learned a lot of those old jazz songs, like Red Roses for a Blue Lady, and what's some other really good ones? Quiet Night on Quiet Stars. And I've learned a lot of chords that I didn't know before.
Oh, I wanted to ask, because it had popped up. What was the decision to master this album on your own? Why not send it off and have somebody else do it?
Oh, my new album?
Yeah.
Oh, I am gonna. That's interesting you brought that up. I'm gonna mix it myself, and then I'm gonna have it mastered. Yeah, the guy that's mastered the last 2 Super Diamond albums and the last 2 or 3 of my original albums, I'm gonna have him master it. Yeah, mastering for sure. I'm gonna let somebody do
But
that.
you're gonna mix it on.
I'm gonna mix it. Yeah, I did buy the new Ozone mastering program.
I use
Ozone 11.
I use Isotope's other stuff. I don't think I've started using
Okay.
Ozone yet.
Yeah, I don't know if you mix music or not. But for mixing music, the new Ozone 11 has an AI. It's AI, so like it'll analyze the frequencies and then do what it recommends, and then you can still adjust from there. But it's like a preset, not a preset, but it'll do what it thinks is best. So it does a really great job, like right away, and then I can tweak it from there a little bit. But it'll really help you with your frequencies, because I'm not a trained engineer. So frequencies is something I'm still trying to learn, but I just spent a lot of time using my ears, but that really helps as a mastering program just for a while I'm working on it myself. And then when I'm finally done with the album, then I'll just mute that and mix it and then give it to the real engineer. But for me, while I'm working on it, it's great to have a really good mastering program just while I'm working on it. And then every now and then, if I do a one-off song or something, then I can master it myself. But when you're doing a whole album, it's always great to have a professional master it, because you want every song to flow nicely from one to the next, to be the same level.
Yeah,
and everything
consistency
like that.
across it.
Yeah, and mastering isn't that much. I mean, I'll save a lot of money in not having it mixed, but mastering, just spend the money on it. It's not that much. Take a good mastering engineer, no more than probably 15 minutes a song.
That's pretty quick.
And especially if, like I said, I might do a shorter album this time, like 6 or 7 songs. And, it's a lot cheaper than mastering 17 songs, which was 2 albums ago. So, and even then, it's not that much. It doesn't take a great mastering engineer much more than 10, 15 minutes a song, I think, just to, all they're doing is working on the compression and the EQ and maybe imaging, stereo field, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
if you're going to a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah, and if you're going to do vinyl, you want a different export, a different kind of file. Make sure that the bass is completely mono, otherwise it could skip.
Are you going to release this album on vinyl?
Yes, I'm
nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to do CDs this time.
Yeah, man, CDs. Does anybody still buy CDs?
I don't know. I don't think so.
CDs are gone. It's
Not
weird
many.
how vinyl is still up there. People are still
CDs
buying
isn't.
vinyl, but CDs, 8-tracks,
Mm.
gone. But vinyl is
Cassettes.
still cassettes.
What's a cassette?
But vinyl, for whatever reason, it just
Sounds better. I'm buying vinyl again.
that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I've got the vinyl behind me
Yeah,
for a reason.
checking that
There's
out.
just something about
It outlasts
Vinyl.
the tapes too. The
Yeah.
8-track and the cassettes, they just don't live. They don't last like the vinyl does. Like you only get a certain amount of plays out of them, and they're junk. They're garbage.
I don't know what the lifespan. I think CDs are more reliable.
Oh yeah, way more than tape.
I have a pretty old tape. It doesn't sound the best. Like I collect some pretty cool tape. I like tapes.
Okay. It's keeping tapes alive. All right. Holding down the fort for the rest of us.
Yeah. 17-year-olds perspective. It's good to hear.
Do you have any vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought him a
Raised
ton
him
of
right,
vinyl.
guys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there's just something about vinyl that, I mean, I've got a couple. The only reason I have CDs is because I have a couple guests that produce CDs, but I don't even have a CD player.
Yeah. There's still one in my car.
Oh, yeah, I think I do have one in my truck, but I haven't had a CD player since middle school, maybe?
Well, you buy a new computer and they're not going to have any drives on there, but I bought a couple external drives. I bought a DVR so that I can burn a DVD onto my computer. And so that'll probably play a CD, imagine.
They're cheap now. You can get external drives
Yeah, I can't imagine
or
they're
CDs for like $25 or
probably
less.
just giving them away because nobody's
Probably,
nobody's
yeah.
using CDs anymore.
Right.
But it's got to be expensive to produce a record, right? More so than just burning a CD. You could do that at your house.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how you would do a record.
I think, I did a little bit of research. I think it's maybe around 2,000, maybe 2,500 for 100
Records?
record vinyl records.
$2,000.
Yeah.
That's not
For
too
For
bad.
100. Yeah. And it goes cheaper the more you get.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Just like CDs. you
that
know.
makes sense why records are still like $30 to buy
Yeah.
them.
Exactly. And like most bands I listen to that nobody's heard of, it starts at $30 and a lot of times are even more than that. But fans are going to buy them and they're not going to do big pressings if they're a band most people haven't heard of. They're not going to order, millions of them and get that
Oh, yeah.
lower cost.
Especially if you're a touring band that's still trying to make it and you're hauling all your merch. You don't have room in your van for stacks of records on top of the sweatshirts and everything.
Yeah, and can you imagine if you're driving around touring and you're in hot cars and you're carrying vinyl around? It's not
Yeah,
going to
that's
work.
not going to last long.
No, you're going to ruin.
Driving around
they're all
LA
gonna
in
be ruined.
100-degree weather, it's just melting in the back of your car.
They're getting them out unless you take them out. Only have them in the car while you're driving with the AC on. I don't even know if the AC works in the trunk. Probably not.
I don't
You
think
probably
so.
can't,
You don't
if
have
you're
AC in the
driving,
trunk.
other than maybe the Bay Area and Humboldt County and Del Norte and maybe the Pacific Northwest. Other than that, anywhere else you go in the United States, you couldn't do that in the summer and drive around with vinyl records in your trunk without them
And
being
then you got to worry
destroyed.
about somebody breaking in and stealing all your stuff. On top
yeah.
of stealing your equipment, but
Yeah.
stealing all your records and your merchandise.
I know, and traveling around with gear, like I put in some air tags. You can get air tags now pretty cheap and just put them in your valuables. And then I just found out because I put them in my guitar and my backpack, and I was just getting ready to put one in my roller bag because I travel with 3 pieces when I travel with Super Diamond. I just found out, okay, thieves are now using those air tags. They can see where they are. So they're driving around and they're just going, oh, there's something in this car. Like,
Well, not only
I don't
that,
want them I don't want to leave my stuff in my car if that's crazy. Like,
Anyone can use
it's
the
like,
tracking.
it's a signal. It's a flag. Here's some valuable stuff. Come break in.
Not only that, professional thieves have things that they scan stuff with to see if it's got an AirTag on it. So, like if they're stealing a like say a trailer or something, they can just go around it. Oh yeah, there's something right there. They pull it off, throw it away, and then boom, off they go with this enclosed trailer or whatever. They're
So much for the AirTag.
yeah, because they're gonna. It's not very expensive nowadays to buy a thing that scans to see if something's. You can get a cheap ones where you go in your hotel room and see if there's cameras and stuff. It's the same type of deal.
I mean, there's different parts of travel. So if we're on a plane, we're at the airport, AirTags are probably good. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll leave them in, and then only if it's a situation after a show and we have a rent-a-car and we want to go to a bar afterwards. There's an after party. Sometimes there's after parties. Part of the business, it's just
Hazard, you got to do it.
yeah. So
you got to maintain.
You want to go to the
appearances.
after party at the bar, and then the stuff's in the trunk of the car, and we go in there, and so the AirTags are in there, right? So now that I know this, maybe I take the AirTags out, put them in my pocket, walk into the bar, and trust that your car's still gonna get broken into. But I mean, if the thieves are going around with these whatever, are they using their phone? Is that all you need? Just a phone, an iPhone, to see where there's AirTags? Then it's going to be, you don't want to do it at all. But like, if it's just a car, tinted windows, I don't know, the stuff's in the trunk, probably okay for a couple hours going into a bar. But even then, it can happen. It happened to us one time in Boston. Somebody broke into our car. It wasn't my car, but it was my bandmates, and bass guitar was stolen and clothes, stage clothes. And so it can happen even without AirTags. There's always that chance. But I don't want to up my chances of getting my stuff ripped off by having AirTags in there, and they're using those to find them. It's crazy.
Are you guys traveling with backup instruments if something were to happen like that, or if one was to break?
No, but we could always have, when we're traveling, we have backline rented anyway. So the drums and amps, guitar stands, keyboard stand, those are brought in by a backline company where they're being rented.
Oh, so you guys don't have to transport all that?
No, just guitar, keyboard, bass guitar, 2 guitars, I should say. My guitar player, Chris, is so lucky right now. He just bought a folding guitar. It's an electric guitar and it folds. So his guitar is in his backpack. He no longer has to carry a guitar. So we'd always pair up our guitars like yin and yang up on the overhead of the airplane. So they'd fit. 'Cause sometimes a person goes, oh, it's taking up so much room. You got 2 of them? We're like, yeah, but look, it only takes up space of 2 big normal bags, yin and yang up there. Oh, okay. But now, like, okay, I got nothing to yin with my yang, because his is in a backpack.
They hung you out to dry.
Lucky bastard. So he gets to the show and just snaps it together, and it's crazy.
And you can tune it. It's tasty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know foldable guitars.
I didn't know they had
were
such a thing. Yeah.
I know it's a new thing. We got hired to do a private event by these guys that have been seeing us for a long time, and they used to go see us at the House of Blues on Sunset in Hollywood. Same place, same 2 times that Neil Diamond sang with us was there at the House of Blues. And they used to go see us there a lot. And so they hired us to play their private party, and they flew up from LA to pick us up in their private jet, picked us up in Oakland, and flew us there, and then flew us back the next day. And they had, this folding guitar is one of the guys, his 2 guys are friends, is one of their products, one of his products. Mm. And so Chris got a sponsorship with them, good price on it. And, I've been wanting to do like a video of him, like taking out the backpack and explaining it, put it together, and just use it for our social media to have an interesting segment rather than just always posting shows. Tomorrow, we're at the Humboldt County Fair. Ferndale, 7 p.m. Be there. Or whatever other show. It's just always the same thing. I'm always posting just a show, just another graphic with just another show. So it's nice to have some interesting content, something like that. And sounds like a cool thing, right? folding guitar.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see a video of it.
Sounds like you need to get one, so then you'll have the yin and yang going again. You can
Yeah,
just
but
stack
I-
You could just put your backpacks together.
But I play an acoustic guitar.
You don't have acoustic version yet?
No.
You got to talk to somebody.
There you go.
It could happen because I'm just started using a Fender Jazzmaster Acoustasonic, which is an acoustic guitar simulator. I just bought it for myself. It's my new toy. I bought it for myself for Christmas in December. And so instead of a big jumbo acoustic guitar carrying around all over the place, taking up more space in the overhead, it's an electric guitar. So it's got a thinner body, and it's a little bit easier to carry around on the road. And it's got different acoustic guitar settings, a dreadnought, a jumbo, a parlor, a couple others. And then it's also, like I said, it's called it's a Fender Jazzmaster. That's a real electric guitar. And they also have the Fender Stratocaster and the Fender Telecaster. So they've got an Acoustasonic version of all three of these guitars, which are electric guitars, but with different simulations, they call it modeling, different simulations of acoustic guitars. So it's amazing. They sound so realistic. And then it's also got the electric guitar sound of the Jazzmaster, and then a knob you turn up, and then it goes from clean to distorted. So the power now that I have on stage, it's opened up so many doors with creativity of, the songs. It gives me so much more power. All these sounds rather than just one sound. And so it is an electric guitar. Who knows? Maybe someday they'll have a folding version of it. It could happen.
I bet it's coming. They've already got one.
But it's not the Fender. It's a different brand that's got the folding. So if maybe they want to sell their technology to Fender, then they have to work out that deal.
Yeah. Might not be a bad idea.
Or they just take your Fender and just customize it and make it so does that.
Do it myself.
Yeah, I don't know if that's when you want to DIY.
Well,
it's not
they
something
do it.
I want to
Not
go to
you.
Ace Hardware to try to
Yeah, look
trying
at
to
you. I
find.
saw the neck on
They've
my
already
guitar.
done it. I'm saying them, not you. They know how to do it.
Yeah, that might be a pretty intensive project if you start taking a saw to your own guitar.
I don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
And I would never like even try it by sawing my neck in half on my guitar.
It's a good way to lose a guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, and the versatility of having that, then you don't have to pack around a bunch of different instruments. You've got one that can kind of do everything you need.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to completely replace my acoustic. Like, I tried it for my lounge show where I play solo acoustic, and it's just not going to replace my, I use a Taylor acoustic, jumbo acoustic for my lounge show. And it's not going to replace that for when I'm playing solo. And it's not going to replace it when I'm recording in the studio. But the sounds that it has, the simulations, like I have one song on my new album where I did use it for the acoustic guitar because it's just different. It's not like a standard kind of acoustic guitar sound, but it's like a different sound, which really fits this particular song. So it's just great to have all these different tools, Yeah.
When you're up on stage, do you bust out the acoustic pretty often?
Well, with Super Diamond,
Yeah.
I play like I said, my new Acoustasonic, which I started using for Super Diamond. I use that at every show now. And I play on, I don't know, in a normal show, what is there, maybe 25 songs or something? I think there's like 4 songs I don't play guitar on. So I play it all night for a Super Diamond show.
Do you keep the same set for each show, or do you try to work in some new songs?
I used to always change it. So every time we go to a different city, it would be a different show. And then, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago, I just had the best set list. It was so, like, it just flowed. Like, I couldn't believe how great it was. And so I didn't want to change it. It's like, what? This is amazing. Just changing it for changing's sake is no reason to change it. Like it was the best set. And so we've kept the same set, but we've changed it. It changes every now and then when we figure out a way to make it better. But not just for changing's sake, only when it can make it better. And then every now and then, maybe there's one song that we can change out and put in a different one. Like there's room to do that.
That doesn't mess with the overall flow.
Right. Yeah. And then when we just keep figuring out, and then we do a lot of mashups and stuff too, where we like throw in a little Led Zeppelin ending. And like I mentioned earlier, Sweet Child of Mine in Sweet Caroline at the end. I don't know if someday I'd like to write out a list of all the different bands that we have in our show. There's The Ventures, there's Nine Inch Nails, there's lots of Led Zeppelin, there's AC/DC, there's just so many things that are in there. From, like I said, from The Ventures, which is like old 60s, when stereo records first just came out, really old surf music, to Nine Inch Nails, and everything in between. And a lot of it's just little subtle things that not everybody's going to catch, but they're in there, And then there's a lot of things like, not musically, but talking things that I do, where I do the Cheap Trick reference, I do a Van Halen, David Lee Roth reference, I do all kinds of little things that not everybody's going to get, but it's really fun. And why are we bringing this up again? What was your question?
No, it was just you working out a good set.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, that things like that. We're always developing as well.
But it makes sense
Shtick.
not to change.
Shtick. There's a lot of shtick in there, but yeah, not to change it just to change.
Yeah, why mess with it if it works?
Yeah, and I'm kind of like I tell my bandmates this all the time, my partners, but so many times after the shows, I'm just like, God, I'm so blown away with how amazing it was, because we just keep honing it. Like, it's the same set, but it just keeps getting better and better.
Well, and you guys get better with each show. I mean, even after all this time.
That's mainly because this set is just being crafted and just being so perfected, and and in the beginning, I was wondering, well, is anybody going to complain about it not changing that much? I haven't heard any complaints yet, so that's good. And I think one of the things that I keep thinking about is, like, a lot of people bring friends to the show and they want them to like it. So I think it's going to be what it's going to be. We're going to deliver what people are going to want their friends to see what they saw. And so it's going to be that. Like, you guys might, I'm thinking of Billionaire Show.
Experience.
I'm thinking of Billionaire Show. When we used to go see them, and like sometimes they'd always do something different.
You did that.
And so then maybe you bring somebody, and then you're like, yeah, they're gonna, and then it's different. They're like, well, what?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they normally do this, like, I guess they moved on to something else.
Thank you very much.
The
show.
And like, so like, that's so disappointing. And that's probably happened to everybody. Well, it shouldn't happen with us. I mean, they're going to bring their friends, and it's going to be kind of what they expect. What they told them.
Yeah. Or
maybe better, because we just keep
getting better.
I mean, it sounds bad to say that, but that's what we're trying to do. Just keep honing it and it's kind of like a machine. Like I said before, it's like we've got it so down, and but it's kind of like a Broadway musical in a sense too. Like that's what a musical is. It's a show, and it's just, they've just got it down. And that's kind of what we are. We're not like a regular band. It's a show band. I don't know what we are, but I mean, we're a Neil Diamond tribute band is what we are. But the way we're doing it is kind of like you would craft a musical, like the Neil Diamond musical, Beautiful Noise, which I was going to see in New York, and then it stopped right when I got to, because I hadn't been there in a few years, since before lockdown, and but they're coming to San Francisco, so I'll see the show there. But That's what it's a crafted, well-oiled machine. That's what that is. So that's kind of like similar to what we are. It's kind of like a musical would be.
And you still get that variety because it's a live show. Like it's going to be unique just in that sense.
Yes. And there is a part of the show where we can kind of mess with, and that's at the end. We have a new segment in the show. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 years we've been doing it, and it's called Breaking the Rules. And at the end of the show, like I walk off the stage after Brother Love's Traveling Salvation show, and then the band's going, what song do you want to hear? Just name it. What song? And then Chris goes, oh, I heard a request. And he goes into Sweet Home Alabama. And then I walk out and say, stop? What are you doing? Neil Diamond didn't write that. You're breaking the rules. You can't break the rules. Do you want to break the rules? Yeah. Not everybody, but half the audience.
Yeah, right.
Half the audience says, no. All right, let's break the rules. And then, but if we're going to break the rules, let's do something from the 80s. I don't know. I love the 80s. Who loves the 80s? Yeah. And then we'll go into, an 80s song. Don't You Forget About Me, or David Bowie, Let's Dance, and then we'll do American Girl by Tom Petty, maybe some Johnny Cash, do a couple songs, and then we'll end with America, a Neil Diamond classic. So then we can do whatever we want there. We just have fun.
You guys change that up quite a bit.
It's 100-minute set. We just want to have fun, and we've been doing it for 31 years. So we're just having fun and goofing around, and luckily the audience likes it too. A lot of people really love that part of the show. So, nobody complains. Well, one time there was a drunk girl that was complaining. She's like, why did you do those other songs? You could have done You Got to Me. You could have, sorry. I know. I understand. Did you go see the Neil Diamond musical? No, I really want. What? You didn't go see it? No, I live in San Francisco. It's in New York City. I just haven't been there. I'm going to see it. She got so mad at me. I was just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Drunk girl.
Oh, what does the future look like for you? Do you think you'll be 80 up there still going hard?
I hope I'm alive that long. Sure. Why not?
It's only another 20 years.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're still enjoying it and you're having fun and the audience still loves it.
I mean, deep down, I'm hoping to, be doing a Vegas show and doing some Andy Williams in Vegas,
Do a residency?
I want a residency. No, I don't, but I'm hoping in the future I have a residency at a big hotel where I've got the suite up on the top floor and take the elevator down to the show every night. And most likely the act will be called Randy Williams. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea.
It's kind of
sounds pretty Randy.
Kind of my goal, my near future goal. But still do some Super
plan.
Diamond shows on the side.
Yeah.
Great.
Work it in.
What?
Is it Super Diamond for your show?
Or Randy Williams, either way. That or, retirement homes. Either way, I'm happy.
You don't have to just do one or the other. You could do both.
Yeah.
Have a little residency and then a tour of just senior homes.
I think if you had the right videographer and did the senior home thing with the video, taped it and started putting it online, it would go viral, and people would love seeing the reaction of the older
my
people.
audience. I want to play those Andy Williams songs for people who really love those songs. Not just. I'm happy exposing the younger generations to the Andy Williams, kind of like I did with the Neil Diamond back in the late 80s and early 90s. And in the earlier years of Super Diamond, it was the same kind of thing. A lot of the younger people didn't think they knew any Neil Diamond songs. Maybe they knew a couple. Maybe they knew the songs that he wrote that other people made famous, like Red Red Wine by UB40. That was a #1 single. Or Girl You Be Woman Soon. It was made popular and done by Urge Overkill in the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. Or the Monkees, I'm a Believer. That was a #1 song for the Monkees. And a lot of other, covers of Neil Diamond songs that were hits. And so they don't think they know the songs, but but they know a lot more than they think.
Yeah, activate those forgotten memories of listening to their parents or listening to it with their parents, you know. Hear it and then it ignites a spark.
Yeah. And I've met a lot of other people like me who are very nostalgic and they love that. And it brings back, you know, childhood memories with their family. And so a lot of families come to our shows and they reach out and we get to know them. And, you know, people my age and their family, you know, just like me, you know, people my age and their parents, you know, and then, you know, like me, a lot of people are losing one of their or both parents, and then they've got those memories and they still come to the shows, or they used to come to our shows with their parents because their parents used to take them to Neil Diamond shows when they were young, you know. So I see a lot of people just like me at our shows. It's weird how when we first started, the majority of our audience was people just like my age. They were second generation Neil Diamond fans that were in their 20s, just like me, and then into the 30s. And, you know, when I turned 50 and had my big 50th birthday party, well, a lot of people do their big birthday parties like that. Like there's a lot of big 50th birthday parties, and we're getting hired to do a lot of 50th birthday parties, like for our rich fans, you know. And it's funny how like our fans are same age as me. And then but they're like I think Jerry mentioned, there's a lot of different ages that come to the shows, but the majority, like the core, is just like me, the same age. And then there's the first generation Neil Diamond fans. And we also always still see a lot of young people, you know, in their early 20s. And lately I've seen a lot of young girls standing next to their mom in the front row, you know, and it's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Music is the great uniter.
It is.
You know?
Always
Doesn't matter
has
what
been.
decade you're born into, you can
Mhm.
find music that just resonates.
Yeah.
There's something about it that just, I mean, these are classic songs for a reason. Still are so potent today.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, thanks for doing this, man, and thank you guys for coming on as well. Appreciate you guys taking the time.
My
to come
pleasure. Our pleasure.
shit for a little
For
bit.
sure.
Thanks for
Fun.
bringing me in and letting a couple of my buddies come and hang out with us.
Yeah, this was fun. Do you want to plug where people can find you, find shows, any of that?
Yeah.
When the album is out?
Yes, absolutely. Super Diamond will be at the Humboldt County Fair tomorrow, Friday, July 30th. No, August 30th.
Couple, yeah. Different
August
month.
30th. August 30th at the Humboldt County Fair in Ferndale, 7 p.m. And what else is coming up? Napa. Hey, it's a 707. How far can it be? Right? It's crazy. 707 all the way down to Napa. So yeah, we'll be in Napa in November. And we're going to be at Bimbo's 365 Club in San Francisco, September 14th. So, you know, we were talking about that amazing venue. Come down to San Francisco and hang out with us. Saturday, September 14th. It's only a 4-hour drive. And there's a great hotel right next door. A lot of our friends will get rooms there. So come join the party. Hang out with us. We'll go to the International across the street afterwards and we'll party until they kick us out.
That'll be the after party.
Absolutely. We've been doing it for 28 years, playing at Bimbo's 365 Club in North Beach, beautiful North Beach. So yeah, those are the clubs to mention, I think. And then, like I said earlier, we're on Facebook, Super Diamond, and we're Super Diamond Band on Instagram, and on X, Super Diamond, and superdiamond.com. And I think that's about it.
Any release date in the works yet for the album, or still?
Oh, for the original album? No, I was going to do it this year, but I'm pushing it back to early next year. So probably February. That's what I'm thinking.
2025.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Be excited to check that out.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to release it as Randy Cordeiro, I think, just solo album. Since I'm doing everything on the album, except maybe the violin that I'll hire at the end of it to finish it off. I'm just using violin samples right now, until as a placeholder until I record the real violins. And I think I'll leave the cello and some of the kind of horn samples in there. They sound great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of good YouTube content. Their promos on YouTube. There's videos of Katie Couric interviewing
Neil Diamond.
And he talks about Super Diamond.
Oh, cool.
And
Oh, yeah.
There's
And
Super Diamond
who
promos.
else? Katie
Good
Couric on the
songs.
Today Show.
Super Diamond on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube. And we were on the David Letterman show, Late Night with David Letterman. Clip of that on there. And
Jeopardy question.
The Jeopardy question.
Yeah.
Super Diamond made Jeopardy question. And lots of goodies like that from our 31-year career. Fun stuff. Thanks for mentioning that, Jerry. And that's about it. Yeah. And but I don't know. I'd see these videos and nothing can ever capture a live show. Every time there's ever been videos, it's always been, there was no magic. And then we have magical shows and I wish we had video cameras there tonight. But
that promo is pretty magical.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. I love
Okay.
showing people that promo on YouTube.
right.
It's great.
Well, Nick, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Really, this was a lot of fun.
Say hello to your mother.
I will.
Yeah.
She's going to be excited to hear this. Cool. Thanks, guys. That was great.
Good night, all.